This is Fasting the Daoist Way by Laing Z, Matthews. Most people think fasting is just a health trick, a metabolism hack, a way to lose weight, lower insulin, or clean up the diet after too much indulgence. But the older traditions saw something much deeper. In the Taoist world, fasting was never just about food. It was about energy. It was about clarity. It was about loosening the grip that heavy eating has on the body, the mind, and the spirit. And one of the most striking parts of that old view was this. Many Taoists did not simply fast. They first moved away from grains. That sounds strange to modern ears. After all, grains have been sold to us as normal, necessary, even sacred. Bread, rice, wheat, oats, corn, cereal, noodles, pasta. These foods sit at the center of civilization. They are cheap, portable, easy to store, easy to sell, and deeply woven into habit. But that may be exactly the problem. Ancient Taoists believed grains could make the body heavier, the energy duller, the mind less clear, and the spirit more bound to material life. They saw grain avoidance, often called Bigu, as part of a larger attempt to reduce dependence, refine internal energy, and make deeper fasting possible. Now, before the usual food police start rattling their cutlery, let's be precise. This is not a call for blind food panic. It is a serious question. What if some of the foods most normalized in human society are not actually the foods that make human beings most clear, strong, and free? The Taoist answer was often uncomfortable. Grains may feed civilization, but they do not necessarily liberate the human being. In Taoist thought, food was never just fuel. It was a carrier of energy. Different foods shaped the body and consciousness in different ways. Some were seen as lightening, clarifying, and supportive of subtle practice. Others were seen as heavy, damp, stagnating, and binding. Grains were often placed in that second category. They were believed to weigh down the spirit, trap energy in the lower centers, and increase dependence on external sustenance. That is one reason grain avoidance became part of Taoist fasting and longevity practice. From a traditional Chinese medical point of view, the criticism was not abstract. Grains were said to generate dampness and stagnation. Those two words matter. Dampness, in that framework, means the body starts feeling heavy, sluggish, swollen, foggy, sticky, and slow. Digestion gets bloated, the head gets dull, the limbs feel burdened. Mucus builds, water lingers. Energy circulation becomes muddy instead of clean. Stagnation means things stop moving properly. Digestion feels stuck. Meals sit like bricks. The mind becomes tired after eating. The body works harder but gets less out of it. And once stagnation sets in, vitality begins to leak. The old Taoists looked at this and concluded that a grain-heavy life makes spiritual work harder. It becomes more difficult to meditate deeply, more difficult to keep the mind bright, and more difficult to reduce dependence on constant feeding. But there was also a metaphysical layer. The Taoists observed that grain cultivation stood at the center of settled civilization. Grains fed cities, armies, hierarchies, work cycles, taxation, and social control. Grain agriculture allowed populations to grow and power structures to harden. In that sense, grains were not just food, they were part of the machinery of material existence. So some Taoists came to see grains as binding foods, foods that tether consciousness to labor, appetite, possession, fear, survival, and the endless cycle of external dependence. That does not mean rice is evil or bread is a demon in loaf form. Let's not descend into circus nonsense. It means that from the Taoist point of view, certain foods strengthen attachment, and others help loosen it. Grain avoidance was one attempt to lighten the body, sharpen perception, reduce dependence, and support the shift from external feeding toward internal cultivation. This is where Bigu enters the picture. Bigu literally means grain avoidance. In practice, it was often part of a larger fasting discipline. The aim was not simply starvation or denial. The aim was to reduce food dependence, refine internal energy, improve meditative absorption, and support longevity. Those practicing Bigu often replaced grains with lighter foods, medicinal tonics, herbs, fruits, nuts, and various energy cultivation methods. Breath, meditation, and environmental absorption practices were often part of the same world. Now, here is where things get interesting. Modern science, although it uses a different language, has been uncovering problems with grains that echo some of these old observations. Start with the gut. The gut is no minor side department. It plays a central role in immunity, mood regulation, nutrient absorption, inflammation, and metabolism. If the gut is damaged or chronically irritated, the whole system pays for it.